here with Kathy Cano-Murillo, aka Crafty Chica, and you are getting crafty on us today. We are sewing paper.
Yes, so I love to collect all these different fun pattern papers and then cut them up and sew them back together in different arrangements. It just adds so much texture and personality to your paper projects. So what I do to start is I just take a 12 by 12 sheet, I take my leftover pieces, it's easy 12 by 12, easy math, you can cut them down. And to start, we can just get some
little
easy
6 by 6
squares.
pieces, I was going to say. Cut them into
6
4,
by 6.
and you got it.
So here's 2 that I already have sewn together, and we're just going to sew these together. Once you get that down, you can like go crazy and do all these other patterns and arrangements that you want. So I'm going to take these 2 sheets, and you can choose whether if you want to line them up together or maybe overlap it just a little bit. For your first try, I'd say overlap it just a little bit until you get used to the flow of it. And then I have it on zigzag. Use white or black thread because that gives it even more contrast. And
what about the needle or anything special about sewing on paper? Anything we need to know?
Definitely have a designated needle, heavy duty, because if you use a light needle, it will break. So use a heavy duty needle, and here we go. Here's our first patch.
And I know that I have separate paper and fabric needles because paper dulls needles.
Right. So you just want to use the needle, the heavier one for the paper.
And look, so now you have 2 6 by 6s stitched together, so now you're going to stitch them back together into one giant 12 by 12.
Yes.
And you know the thing that I love so much about the way you create, Kathy, is you're not at all worried about like if things are lining up perfectly or if it looks just quite right. You're just kind of going for it because you can always mount it on a larger sheet of cardstock. You can always sort of fix it up to fit more of that large size. And the other thing I noticed is you're not knotting anything anywhere.
No, what you can do a back stitch. Let's do back stitch. You can
there
do
you
a back
go. So you can certainly do a back stitch to knot it if you need to, but you don't have to.
Right.
Because generally speaking, I assume that the thread doesn't really come out of the paper.
It doesn't, because once you start adding your other elements to it, then it all stays together nice. So you can see I got a little excited right there.
Well, I was going to say is you can always go back, and in fact, we could do something decorative, right?
I saw a stitch on here I liked, and I'm just going to punch that in because that's another thing. Once you get the hang of it, play around with your different
stitches.
Adding
your decorative stitches. I always think, you know, my machine has so many different stitches and I don't take advantage enough of them. I'm doing something really like pretty and interesting and different and cute.
And you could even, like here I have the white thread, but I could...
Oh my gosh, you could change colors.
Yes, you could change colors
That would be
of your
awesome,
thread.
and you could come in and do something totally different. I love that idea.
Oh my God, we totally think alike.
We're so alike. It's amazing. Well, that's the thing about crafting with somebody, right? Is it's exciting.
Yes, it's fun to try new things. And don't be afraid to get in there if it's a little crooked. Just get started, get the hang of it, and then just go for it. Look at all these options.
I was going to say, let's look at some of the ones that you have here that are completely fantastic.
So this one, I loved this quote. So I put it next to the rainbow animal print with a little bit of gold chevron and these beautiful Mexican hearts. Like, it just looks so pretty together. And then this one is a bunch of odds and ends scraps with the little font action, and more animal print stripes.
You know, patterns really look great when they're used in smaller quantities. And I was going to say, I have all sorts of paper scraps that I can use this with. I can see taking regular paper and doing with it. I just think there are so many possibilities for stitching your paper together to use either as a whole piece or to put it together into collage.
Right, exactly, yeah. And you don't even need to put a lot. You can just put one picture after you and let the paper shine behind it.
What a great idea. So think beyond the single surface and create in layers to give your projects the maker look.